Assalamu alaikum video viewers. The topic of today's video is molarity, molality and normality. So in this video I'm going to explain all of these three topics along with their formulas, explanation and examples. So first of all, moving towards the molarity. Molarity is actually the number of moles of solute that are contained in 1 liter of the solution. So the formula is molarity is equal to moles divided by volume of solution in liters. And the formula for moles is mass divided by molar mass. So you can get the idea of all of it through the example. So moving on towards the example, we have find the molarity of 9.8 gram of sulfuric acid in 2 liters of solution. So what you have been given 9.8 gram of sulfuric acid and you have to find its molarity in 2 liters of the solution. So H2SO4 is the formula for sulfuric acid, and as you know that H2SO4 means that I have two atoms of H and the mass of one atom of H is 1 gram per mole. Similarly, what do? We just multiply 2 with a 1 and then we add 1 multiply 32 because the mass of the sulfur is 32, and multiplying it 1 because we have only one atom of sulfur, and then we have to add 4 multiplied by 16 because we have 4 atoms of oxygen and the mass of a single atom of oxygen is 16. So when we add all of these, the answer comes out to be equal to 98 gram per mole. So now this is our molar mass, and the moles can be found by dividing the mass with the molar mass. So mass is 9.8 gram that has been given in the question, and 98 gram per mole is the molar mass. So 9.8 divided by 98 will give me 0.1 moles. So molarity will be equal to moles divided by volume of solution in liters. So moles, the answer to the moles is 0.1 moles, and the volume of solution liter is 2. So 0.1 divided by 2 will give out 0.05 molar. So that's an example of the molarity. So moving on towards molality. So when we compare molarity with molality, what is the difference? Molality is actually defined as the number of moles of solute that are present in kilogram of solvent, whereas in molarity we were discussing the moles of solute that are present in volume of solution, and now in molality we are discussing the number of moles that are present in kilogram of solvent. We are not talking about the solution, we are talking about the solvents. And similarly, molarity will be equal to moles divided by kg of solvent. So we have same 9.8 gram of sulfuric acid is present in 2 kg of the water. Find molality. So now, first of all, you have to find the molar mass, and then you have to find the number of moles. 9.8 gram is given, and 98 gram is the molar mass. So 9.8 divided by 98 will give out 0.1 moles. And now you have to put this value of moles in the formula for molality. Molality is equal to moles divided by mass of solvent in kg. And the answer to the moles is 0.1. So in place of moles, you have to write 0.1. And in place of mass of solvent, you have to write 2 because you have been given 2 kg of the water. So 0.1 divided by 2 will give out 0.05 molar of solution. So that was the molality. So now moving on towards the normality. Normality is actually the number of the gram equivalents of solute that are present in 1 liter of the solution. Okay, these are the number of the gram equivalents of solute that are present in 1 liter of a solution. So the formula is normality is equal to number of gram equivalent of solute divided by volume of solution in liter. So what are the number of gram equivalents? The number of gram equivalents has another formula that is equal to given mass divided by equivalent mass. And similarly, we have the equivalent mass here, and this equivalent mass has another formula that is equal to molecular mass divided by X, and X here is the valency. So now I'm going to explain all of these formulas with the help of an example that will lead us finally to the normality of a solution. So now I have to calculate the normality of 9.8 gram of H2SO4 in 500 ml of solution. So first of all, you have to find the molecular mass, and I have told you how to find the molecular mass, and similarly, the molecular mass comes out to be equal to 98 gram per mole. And what is equivalent mass? Equivalent mass is actually the molecular mass divided by the valency. So as you know that H2SO4, in case of H2SO4, when it dissociates, it gives two hydrogens. Okay, it gives two hydrogens, mean it has positive 2, and on the sulfate there is negative 2. So we have to take valency, and valency can be only the positive charge or the negative charge. So let's just take that I am taking the positive 2, means that I have to write 2 here. The sign has not to be included in the equivalent mass equation. You do not have to put in the sign in the equivalent mass equation. Okay, what you have to do, would you just have to find the valency that you can find by seeing the number of the hydrogen, the number of the donatable hydrogens. So we have 98 gram per mole, and dividing it by 2 we have 53, and 53 is the equivalent mass. And now what I have just done here, I have just found the equivalent mass, and now I have to place in this value in the above formula, and that will give me the number of gram equivalents. So now I have 53, And the number of gram equivalents is equal to given mass divided by equivalent mass. And given mass is 9.8 gram. And in place of given mass, I'm going to write 9.8 grams. And in place of the equivalent mass, I have to write 53. And 9.8 divided by 53 will give me 0.1849. And that's the number of gram equivalents. And now what you have to do, you have to just plug in the value of the number of gram equivalents in the normality formula. And the formula for normality is number of gram equivalents of solute divided by volume of solution in liters. So number of gram equivalents is 0.1849. You just have to plug in that here. And then what do we have is the volume of solution in liter. And the volume of solution in liter is 0.5. And how did I get the volume of solution in liter? The volume of solution in liter is given in the question. And as you know that we have 500 ml of solution, that means in case of liters, that will be equal to 0.5 liters. So what I have to do, I have to just write 0.5 liter in place of the volume of the solution, and I have to now write 0.1849 in place of the number of the gram equivalent of solute, and then finally dividing, I'll get an answer 0.36 normal. So that was all for today's video. If you have any question, you can freely ask in the comments. Thank you, and Allah Hafiz.